Chapter 31: A New Global Age: Cultures Without Borders. The Quest for Human Rights. The value and rights of a life. When the 20th century ended, the value of a life had changed. People had seen what happened to others just because they were of a different race, religion, or gender. They had seen, and some may have even experienced firsthand, the aftermath of the Holocaust and Hitler's reign. People were inspired globally to try to make a change. Men and women were joining together to try to instigate a change in society through the supranational body of the UN. Then, something happened. On December 10th, 1948, someone did something. The General Assembly of the United Nations adopted this document. It was called the Declaration of Human Rights. This document proclaimed the inalienable rights and fundamental freedoms of all people. These included the rights to life, liberty, security, and equal protection under the law. Some other things this included was the right to marriage and family, the freedom of thought and the freedom of expression, the right to education, responsibility, and the fact that no one can take away our rights, and of course, the one that we all love so much when doing projects, copyright. Although the previous document did help establish universal rights, there was still one key nation that didn't really fully support human rights. They were the URSS, currently known as Russia. On August 1st, 1975, the Soviets, along with 34 other countries, signed the Helsinki Accords. The deal was that the Soviet gains in World War II would be acknowledged in exchange for the endorsement from the Soviets for human rights. These accords also helped lower tensions from the Cold War. However, some critics called it a ploy for powers in the North to interfere in the political affairs of those in the South. All over the globe, people were fighting injustice. They fought out against these injustices and abuses no matter the cost. They went up against governments and nations of all sizes. They went against Russia, against Soviet Union, and against China, against all governments they could. People were not only suppressed, but also beaten, tortured, and even killed for their beliefs. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights states, "All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood." Religion worldwide. Religion. National or global? Religion stopped trying to spread nationally and instead tried to spread internationally. Leaders in the church started traveling throughout the globe to preach. They gave up their national identity to rather spend more time preaching throughout the world instead of in their home country, because they saw that most people in their home country had moved to secularism and now they actually had more supporters in other places around the globe. The Liberation Theology. This theology held that Christians must show compassion to those around them in need. This was interesting because not only was it about only Christianity, but other religions also started using this. In fact, there was a religion started called the Soka Gakkai, and in this religion, they wouldn't exactly pray, but they'd chant for whatever goals they wanted. Now, quite frankly, the most important goals were world peace, compassion, and respect for all human life. But it's interesting when we see because sometimes those religions that we don't even know, they want more peace, compassion, everything than the religions that we do know actually want. Islam. Islam became the second largest faith after Christianity. They spread their religion through sophisticated techniques based on marketing and demographics. But they also started splitting off. So there were different sections within Islam. Certain women in Islam began to wear headscarves, and some had a saying that went, "We pray like you have fun." This basically meant that they found enjoyment and happiness in these prayers, as we do when we have fun. If you look at the map provided, you can see purple, which indicates Christianity throughout the globe, and then green represents Islam. And as you can see, it's actually larger than the other colors, but still smaller than Christianity. Global literature and music. Latin American literature. A new style called magical realism captivated readers around the world. It mixed common day events with Latin history or myths. Marquez writes of the tradition of dictators in Latin America and the legacy of business imperialism. One example is found in his book called 100 Years of Solitude. At the end of the story, he tells a tale that thousands of workers were killed by machine gun because the US fruit firm just couldn't give them a day off and a few bathroom breaks a day, which doesn't make sense to me, but cultural challenges to traditional views. Literature challenged local values and widespread values. Authors of all races and genders were hunted and killed for their writings. Feminist authors were menaced and exiled. Marquez, who I spoke about before, went in hiding and even rode in a bullet and bomb-proof car to his destinations. But not only were the authors in danger, but also the translators. Rushdie, who wrote the book The Satanic Verses, was accused of blaspheming the Prophet Muhammad, and she went into hiding because of that. But the people didn't stop at that. Assassins found her translators and just killed them, even though they were just doing their job, what she paid them to do. Popular music. Hip hop, rap, and salsa combined African, Latin American, and African American styles. These music styles helped artists express their emotions to the rest of the world through tempo and music. They used this music not only to express their happy emotions, but also to talk about their problems. They rapped about problems such as HIV, AIDS, or even urban crime in their communities. Salsa flourished everywhere, of course, not only because it's amazing, but because people migrated to different parts of the world from Latin America, and so it spread. Contemporary music. Dangda was a form of music that got its tune from Bollywood films, but its lyrics expressed Islamic values. The globalization of people's lives made literary and musical culture a dense crossroad of influences. The end.